All right. In honor of the Olympics and in order to best hype the coming Olympics, we're going to give out bronze, silver, and gold medals based upon work done by teams in the offseason. So the bronze medal awarded by Charean Williams goes to which team?
I'm giving it to the Cardinals, Mike. I just think that some of these veterans they signed were key additions that, you know, some of them are going to be starters, some of them are going to be reserves who are going to contribute a lot of playing time and some stats and everything else. But you look at this list of guys who are 30 and over: J.J. Watt, A.J. Green, Matt Prather, Malcolm Butler, James Conner, Colt McCoy, Brian Winters. A lot of those have Pro Bowls on their resume. So these are going to be good additions to the Cardinals. But I tell you what it does, Mike. It puts, in my mind, a ton of pressure on Cliff Kingsbury to get this team to the postseason. And look at the division they play in. It is an extremely tough division, perhaps the hardest division in the NFL. But to me, he's going to have to get this team to the playoffs, or he may be looking at a pink slip after the season's over.
I'm going with the Browns for the bronze, just because it sounds like bronze and because they have done some good things. They've maintained their nucleus, and they've added John Johnson, the safety from the Rams, who the Rams would have very much liked to have kept, and Troy Hill from the Rams as well jumps over to Cleveland. And on top of all that today, the addition of Jadeveon Clowney, who, if healthy, can help that defense reach a new level. So Browns have done some great work, and the Browns, it's just weird to get used to this idea that the Browns are one of the better teams in the NFL. We had 20 years of them just being one of the teams that's hanging around. Not this year. Browns are looking pretty good.
The Browns are looking pretty good. It still all goes back to Baker Mayfield, Mike. A key year for him to get it done for the Browns, but I like what they've done this offseason.
All right, silver medal. Charean, who you have?
I'm going to go with the Jaguars. You know, this is a team that really needed a shot of excitement for the city, and I think they started that by the coach they hired, going out and getting Urban Meyer. It may or may not work. It's an experiment, but if it does, it's going to work brilliantly. It's going to be a huge addition to them. If it doesn't work, hey, they're the Jaguars. They start over again. They've done that many times in the history of this team. And then I think the draft, they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence. We all believe that. It's going to be another shot in the arm. I just think there's going to be a ton of excitement in Jacksonville. But then you look at what they've done in free agency. I just think they've improved themselves with Shaquille Griffin and Marvin Jones and Jamal Agnew and Carlos Hyde and Al Woods and Philip Dorsett and Damian Wilson and all the guys they've signed. They've signed a ton of guys. I don't think this is going to be the worst team in the NFL next year. They're going to win more than one game, Mike. They're going to end that 15-game losing streak pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know how good they're going to be, and I don't know what I would peg their real over-under at. I think the folks at PointsBet had them at 6.5, which is a dramatic jump from 1 last year, but they're on the right track. We'll see. Urban Meyer making the adjustment to the NFL, I think, is the biggest challenge that team has. For me, the silver, Washington football team. When you consider that they brought in Curtis Samuel, a very underrated receiver, William Jackson III at corner. They've also added Adam Humphries, slot receiver, and there he is on the left, Ryan Fitzpatrick, hoping for Fitzmagic. I like what the best team in the NFC East has done to try to get a little bit better. And we were talking about this earlier today. The Cowboys still the betting favorites to win that division. They do such a great job of hyping that team and setting the bar unrealistically high every year. And then most of the time, they fail to achieve those expectations. And if I'm Washington, I love the fact that I'm not regarded as the favorite in the division. I think that helps set it up for them to win the division again.
Yeah, 25 consecutive years, the Cowboys have failed to live up to those expectations, Mike. Can they do it this year? We'll see. They have the best quarterback in the division, but I, too, like what Washington has done.
All right, who's at the top of the podium for Charean Williams for the offseason so far?
I'm going with the defending Super Bowl champions because I think they've set themselves up to have a repeat, Mike. All 22 starters are back. I never thought they would be able to re-sign all the guys they re-signed. They got everybody back. AB's the only guy out there, and I don't think they really care whether they get him back or not. But just getting Chris Godwin and Sue and Shaq Barrett and Levante David, and then they add Gio Bernard and Scott McClendon rejoined them again this week. So, I mean, they've just done all the right things to me in free agency, getting this team back together. They've got a great chance to repeat. They're deep. They're as deep as any team in the NFL. If you start to bet on teams, I'm definitely betting on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go out and repeat. And I realize it's harder to repeat than it is to win the first one, but oh my gosh, this is a loaded team.
To bring all those guys back, to still have that Tom Brady mentality, and to address your weaknesses after you've signed all your guys. You know, the fact that they signed Giovanni Bernard as an outsider, that tells me that maybe they've closed the door on Antonio Brown. I'd be concerned, and I've said this a few times, about bringing Antonio Brown back because of that looming civil lawsuit and the reality that he's going to be questioned under oath at some point, probably sooner rather than later. And I have a feeling that he's not going to perform very well, and it's going to potentially jeopardize his ability to play in 2021. And they may just be better off looking elsewhere to round out the depth chart at receiver. The draft is still coming up. Maybe they could get a young guy there. I still hold out hope that Larry Fitzgerald, who has yet to announce his plans for 2021, would join the Buccaneers. We're having fun with the idea that Julian Edelman can end up there, although I really don't think it's going to happen. It's fun to talk about it happening, the connection with Brady and Gronkowski, but it is amazing what they've done to hold together all the starters, both sides of the ball, and they're going for it again. And they were 7-5. It's amazing. A team that was 7-5 at their bye week has managed to win 8 in a row and win every battle that they've faced in the offseason by way of keeping guys around. For me, it's the team that Tom Brady came from, the New England Patriots. Even though they were 7-9, there's this sense they were horrible, 4-12, 3-13. No, they were 7-9. There were games they could have won that they lost, like the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Monday Nighter, when all of a sudden they didn't have Cam Newton and the game got delayed a day. They gave the Chiefs everything they could handle, but for some boneheaded decisions at the quarterback position, specifically one from Brian Hoyer, maybe they could have stolen that game. Now, Cam Newton's back. They went out and they spent all that money on upgrading the tight end position with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, and the receivers they added Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, and all the things they've done defensively with Matthew Judon. Amazing array of talent to make a bad team better. And when you have Bill Belichick, you don't have to be a Super Bowl caliber talent team. You just have to be close. And Bill Belichick and company are going to do the rest and put guys in the right position to win those games that a lesser team or a team with a lesser coaching staff would lose, Charean.
And I would love to see them get one of these quarterbacks that we keep talking about, Mike, in the first round. I think that would round off what they've done in this offseason that's been a really productive one for the Patriots. So say a Justin Fields, who they went and watched today, if they could end up with him somehow, some way, I think it would be an outstanding offseason.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.